On today's episode of Stronger Marriage Connection, Dr. Liz and I welcome Christina Morales, who shares her powerful story of nearly losing her marriage and how the Retrouvaille program helped turn things around. After attending a life-changing weekend with her husband when they were on the brink of divorce, not only was their fragile marriage saved, but Christina and her husband went on to become instructors in the program. In this conversation, Christina opens up about the hope Retrouvaille offers, why couples shouldn't wait to seek help, and how marriage education can provide tools to heal, grow, and reconnect. Christina and her husband have served in Retrouvaille since 2003, dedicating over 20 years to strengthening marriages in the Santa Cruz and Monterey, California areas. As former community coordinators and current mentors, they have walked alongside countless couples through both challenges and breakthroughs, always reminding them that no marriage is beyond hope. In 2026, they will again step into the role of community coordinators leading the Santa Cruz Monterey program in Retrouvaille. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to Stronger Marriage Connection. I'm psychologist Dr. Liz Hale, along with my friend and colleague, the esteemed Professor Dr. Dave Schramm. Together, we have really dedicated our lives to bringing you the best we have in valid marital research, along with a few tips and tools to help you create the marriage of your dreams. So, Dave, have you ever heard of the French word retrouvaille? It's French for rediscovery.
Yeah, I did. I have, Liz. I actually heard about it 20 years ago. And then I'm aware of the program, so I'm excited to learn more today.
Yeah, I should say the whole thing, the Retrouvaille marriage program. I've always wanted to know more about it. So I heard about it from Smart Marriages. Where did you hear?
That was it. Yeah,
Same
that was
place.
Way back in the day. Mm-hmm.
I think it's so interesting. It's this volunteer-run Christian ministry designed for married couples by married couples who have first successfully completed the program on their very own. So they've got their own story to tell. Our wait for knowing more, Dave, is over as we welcome Christina Morales to the show today. Welcome to Stronger Marriage Connection, Christina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, this is a fun topic. You and your husband, I understand, have been serving in Retrouvaille.
Yes.
I'm going to try that again. I'm so sorry.
It's a different name. People always get it wrong. It's okay.
You and your husband have been serving in Retrouvaille since 2003, dedicating, that's like 20 years, to strengthening marriages in your community of Santa Cruz, Monterey in California. And what I love most, Christina, is how you say that Retrouvaille has not only brought you and your husband closer together, even transforming your relationship, but it's also helped you connect more deeply with others like families, clients, colleagues. This program ripples far beyond marriage, doesn't it?
It does. And it is a true ripple effect. And that's something that was an after resonating type of reaction that occurred that I don't even think the program describes. I describe it all the time to couples that we speak with. And because it's true, it happened for me and I see it in other couples and I see it with the team that we present with also.
Wow. So what are some of those general skills that Retrouvaille does teach that goes across the aisle to other relationships? What would be the general aspects?
So it is a program that helps hurting couples on the verge of divorce teach them communication tools. Now, communication tools are taught all over the place. There's a certain way we do it that I cannot go into detail because you have to experience it for yourself on a weekend. But what I can say is we teach you how to use all of your senses. I will say that. You know, the smell, taste, hear, sight, all of the senses. We teach you a method how to use all of that and communicate. And that communication helps your spouse hear you when normally they wouldn't or can't for whatever reason because of the hurts and the hypersensitivity between the couples at that point in time.
Wow, using all your senses. I've never heard something like that. I love the idea. So do you have adult children now? Do you have all ages children? I'm sorry.
Yeah, when we started this, our kids were in their our eldest was in his teens and the youngest, under that. But now they are 36 and 31 years of age. And yeah, our sons have seen our transformation. They have experienced our marriage, when we were going through all the misery, and usually most couples get divorced during that misery stage, but there's, we've come to an awakening stage that is way better than the romance stage we ever had. So yeah, our sons can see the difference, and it's our conversations. We've always had roundtables with our sons whenever any issues came up with like school or homework or, their relationship things. And they are, luckily, we're very lucky that we have an open communication with our sons that way, that they feel trusting enough of us to share that type of information. And it's everything we do is very confidential with each other even. And we let them know only what we can from our own experience as a husband and wife or as a couple to the boys. That way they can, and we've heard them, how they express themselves with their, significant others and their situations. And I've heard my youngest even share with friends of his. So it's impactful. And again, that ripple effect, it's profound.
That is beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Christina, as we understand, Retrouvaille is a Christian-based, right? Even stemming from the Catholic Church, which seems to be way ahead, honestly, of the rest of us when it comes to a religion offering great marriage education. And yet couples of all faiths and religions are welcome. Is that right?
That is correct. Yes, it was Catholic based in 1977, came down from Quebec, Canada, and kind of infiltrated into the United States. And we also have what we call a CMD weekend, which is a Christian non-denominational weekend. Anybody who is not Catholic can come on that weekend. Normally the Catholic weekends we have 3 presenting couples and 1 priest. On the CMD weekend, we have the 3 presenting couples and then a pastor and his spouse. And those are fantastic weekends. And gosh, we love the teams that we present with all the time. They're different every single time for the most part. We have a core few that kind of rotate in the same. But it's incredible. And yeah, we have had people on there who don't have any religion at all. And some that are very, cautious and curious about like, well, what is this? And, are you going to try and recruit us or convert us? And it's like, no, it's not like at all.
Yeah. Right. I love that. So it's open to everyone. There's no kind of secret, anything with this. And from what we understand, this is very much a couples based program. So I get today, you're not with your husband here with us on the podcast. So it's not possible to share the entirety of your story without his perspective. But do you mind sharing with us a vague description of what led you as a couple to seek out the Retrouvaille program?
Sure. Perfect. Great. Yes. And it is weird for me not to have him here. We do everything as a couple. Even when we speak to other couples who come through their program, we always say we need to speak 2 on 2. It's just, we make the playing field fair for everybody. That way everyone hears everything and it's transparent for all. But our story, without going to the program, I can tell you that we were on the verge of divorce. We have gone through so much misery throughout our relationship together and through our marriage. And I will say that infidelities occurred and it was devastating on both sides. And my husband is also a veteran, and PTSD for him with that occurred. PTSD for me occurred. So there was a lot more than that's super high level, but there's so much more that goes into that we share with the couples on the weekend. And yeah.
I love that. I love that you're able to do that as a couple, for couples to strengthen them together. Of course, I'm a big fan of relationship marriage education anyway, Christina. So I just singing your praises. So grateful that you found that it helped not only you, but now that you are we talked about that ripple effect that you're spreading that outward now and helping countless couples. So kudos to you.
It's a lot of couples over 20 years. That's just amazing. It's remarkable.
Thousands.
I'm so inspired. Thousands. Wow. And you have been a military family then. Is that right?
Correct.
And bless you for that.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. What do you think, Christina, that makes Retrouvaille especially stand out and be successful, setting them apart from all the other programs internationally?
Well, not having experienced other programs internationally, the fact that this one is international was pretty profound for us. Like I said, we have it's a weekend. I call them events. We call them the weekend. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we have post sessions after that. And that is essentially the difference, because we tell everybody, if you say you're on the verge of divorce or even are halfway there and have one party signing the divorce papers and the other, and you're only there because the judge says, you have to do this program or you have to, do it, then we ask people to do it 100%. That means all of your effort, whether you want to or not, put that effort in. So that way you can say, I've tried everything. But I think the difference is the volunteers, the team, the dedication and commitment that we have, because we've seen the transformation in our own marriages. Once you go through it, and if you get to the point to where you're one of the team and you're presenting, it's incredible, because we can't tell you, we can show you, we can tell you our experience, and we're outside of that forest, right? All the couples are inside. They can't see. They don't know what they don't know. And it's almost like a parent telling the child, like, hey, this is going to be good for you. Take your medicine. I promise you, you can get through this on the other side. Even if it doesn't work out, the biggest tool that makes us different is the communication and how we teach it. If they separate, they at least have that, so that if there are children involved and they're exchanging kids in a dark, rainy parking lot during the holidays, they can still communicate, because they're still going to have to communicate to each other about those kids for the rest of their lives, the kids. So I think that's the difference. Not knowing anybody else's programs, that was enough for us to be able to, and we were remedial. We had to do it twice before it started to really click in for us. So
good for the two of you. I can only imagine just the inspiration that these couples feel when they look around and see other couples who've gone through this and lived to tell about it. And on the other side, I don't know if it gets much better than that, quite honestly. I think I'm starting to understand the secret behind Retrouvaille's success.
We'll be right back after this brief message. And we're back. Well, let's dive right in.
Do you think this is good for any couple, Christina, or would you say that maybe there's a few prerequisites? For instance, we assume both parties have to be willing to participate together. Is that right?
I will say yes, but in our situation, I wanted it more than my husband did at the beginning. And he went anyways, because I said, well, if you love me, then you're going to come to this thing. And, he kind of, even though there was like issues and misery already, and, he could have said absolutely not. And we have had spouses that say absolutely not, but I don't know, for one reason or another, one couple still manages to get the other one there. And it happens a lot where you're not forced to be there. They're there begrudgingly and they have an issue and they're mad about it. But as the program unfolds, we've seen the transformations even over the weekend for some couples, that they're just like, by the end of the weekend, they're arm in arm, and it's wonderful. That's when one of the things we say to each other as a team over the weekend is, where on the weekend did you see God? And for us, it was like, oh, that one couple that had, this issue or that issue, did you see them at the end of the weekend? And they were arm in arm. And it was like, yeah, we all did. And it's amazing. We do that all the time. We see miracles happen.
Yeah,
all the time.
You are miracle workers. That is the word for it.
Yeah, man. I love this. As you consider your time in the program, both as a couple and as mentors, what would you say has had the most lasting impact on your relationship?
On ours, my husband and my relationship?
Yeah, just even going through it yourself, or the process of teaching it as a couple. Is there anything that stands out? Not like a little sneak peek perhaps of some of the things that you've learned, but what is it that has is there I don't know, a principle? Is there something in there that you're like, this makes all the difference for us?
Well, there are so many different things. I would say one of the number one things for us as a couple that made a huge difference was the friendships that we've created and have made. We were just talking to another couple of friends over this last weekend, and my husband was comparing Retrouvaille as a lifestyle, and that it is similar to the military, because he has a military background, how when you're in the military and you are in a different country, but yet you have somebody from the same state as you, they're like, oh, that you're like home to me, right? If you're in another country, much less if you're in a city related or closer to where you actually live, then there's just a bond that's there, that's undeniable. So us as a team, we all have a bond because it would be like meeting you two today, then we share our story, then all of a sudden over the weekend, you guys have heard our story, and maybe we were inside your stories and heard a little bit of your issues, what's going on. Then it's just an instant bond. So if we see you out in the street, it's going to be like, oh my gosh, hey, hi. And everything's super confidential. So we don't ever say, oh yeah, remember me from Retrouvaille. It's all in its own little bubble. But as a team, we know each other's worst sides. So we can, I don't know, there's just something magical about that we're not judgy of each other at all. It just kind of opening up the kimono to friendships at a really deep level that you feel super safe sharing and conversing. And then you just grow from there. It's really quite beautiful. I've never experienced that anywhere. Mm-hmm. And for my husband. So for us, it's a very blooming, beautiful thing for us to experience.
This past weekend, I helped a colleague that Dave and I both know. She did her marriage boot camp. And that's the first time I've been with couples in a room, several couples. And what struck me the most were those connections. And to say, oh my gosh, what you said resonates with me. I have felt the same way. Just that knowledge that we're not alone. We're not the only ones struggling. Sometimes you feel like you're all alone in the world, that you're the only couple that can't get it together.
Yeah. And that's exactly how I felt when we went to our very first Retrouvaille. I thought no one else is going through the same struggles we're going through at all. And then you hear one of the presenting couples with the same story. It's like, oh my gosh, or so similar in so many ways that I felt like, okay, I'm not alone. And that is one of the things that we do tell the couples is you're not alone. There are many more, and we're here to help you.
Retrouvaille really spared your marriage and family, didn't it?
It did. It did. It spared us. It lifted us up, and we're able to share what we can with the couples on the weekends. And then thereafter, we make ourselves available. So we have phone calls or texts from our couples, or even couples that went to one of our programs, a year or two or more before, saying, hey, we hit a bump in the road, and then we reach out and we talk with them.
Love that. So it's not a one and done.
No.
You stay in touch with each other. You check in with each other. And you have that, I guess, that similarity, right? That commonality that you can instantly relate, especially if you've been vulnerable and you've shared, deepest parts of you in a safe space, then there's that ability to make that connection that, rarely happens outside of that.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a couple that stands out to you through the years, Christina, where perhaps it seemed like it was going to take that miracle to get them to the other side intact, and Retrouvaille did just that?
Yeah, it happens more often than you think. There's always at least one of those couples on our weekends. And there was one in particular because I went to school with her, and I guess him, but I didn't know him in school. And by that second morning, because they come on the Friday evening, that Saturday morning before noon, we told her, she was like, angry. She was ready to leave then and there. And I just remember telling her, just wait, we have more, you have to still hear our story the rest of, later on today. And I told her to wait for the miracle. I promise, wait for the miracle. If you want to leave tomorrow, after, a certain time, wait for the miracle. And she's like, fine. She only did it as a favor to me. She was begrudging the whole entire time. And sure enough, it happened. And they're still married today, and they have a very thriving relationship. So yeah, it worked. It doesn't work for everyone, unfortunately. Some people just decide not to put in effort, but yeah, their story stands out to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, isn't that just something? And I think those couples, like you said, nothing is wasted, right? You learn how to be divorced, I suppose, and how to co-parent, because you will be co-parenting and connecting for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
So, gosh, what a way to set you up. Would you know the success rate of Retrouvaille? Do you follow those numbers?
I don't, but I know that it's been mentioned before. And as far as
high, it seems
it's really high if the couples are putting in the work. I would say I'm just going to throw a number out there that's probably close to, I'm going to say 87%. If they're putting in the work, then yeah. Is it going to be super 100% rosy? Maybe not, but it's still going to be elevated compared to where they were on that Friday when they came to the weekend.
We'll be right back after this brief message. And we're back. Well, let's dive right in.
Christina, what would you say is, if there's listeners right now and they're like, man, this sounds amazing. Sounds like something that we would really benefit from, but they're maybe on the fence, or maybe there's a wife listening in. She's like, I don't know, how do I get my husband to something like this? Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips or advice, I guess, in that scenario to kind of help tip them over and say, what would you say to a couple who's kind of thinking about it?
Well, what's wonderful is I would say check out both of our different websites, the retroca.org and then helpourmarriage.org. RetroCAA is specific to California. Help Our Marriage is for all of the United States. And they both have really great kind of questionnaires on there. Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling hurt? Are you feeling all these things? If the answer is yes to any of those, then yes, you need to be here. You need to come check this out. What are you going to walk away with this if your spouse doesn't want to? Guaranteed you as an individual will learn some communication tools that are going to help you with either making this relationship work or not. You at least know how to move forward. And we kind of teach you to work on yourself also. So there's that great big piece there. And that they're not alone, and that they don't have to worry about sharing their story. That it's not anything like that. It's not a retreat. It's not a, sensitivity group. This is a program to work on yourself, really.
So you can talk or not talk, share or not share. You can pass. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Love that. And we'll put those links for our listeners who just heard those or may not know how to spell Retrouvaille. Right? Maybe a little bit difficult. We're going to put those links, Christina, in our show notes. Okay. So listeners, go to those our show notes, and we'll put the links to those websites. Are there other resources, websites, things that you recommend for listeners we could add?
No, those are the two basic ones for Retrouvaille specifically. I mean, there's programs like this where you can listen to, marriage and relationships and that type of thing. But, really for anyone who's going through the hardest time and you think that this is just the worst of it, there is hope. Our logo is a cross and it has a life preserver on it. And for us, that was the lifeline, that little life preserver, that logo image. This program is that life preserver. We're throwing it out to you. No one's ever turned away, ever. We welcome the couples into the program. So there is hope. Wait for that miracle. Wait for that golden nugget of information that you maybe never knew of or how to use before. And I promise if you do what we ask you to do, then you will change.
Yeah. And you got to put in the work, right? Yeah. It takes work. Individuals, I guess we start with ourselves, right? We search inward and then we turn.
Yeah. One of the things I will share about my husband, one of his favorite things to say is staying married in today's society is getting divorced is like a 6-lane freeway all go, not that much traffic. You're not stuck. It's just go, 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 go. And if there's any lights, red light, green lights, it's all green lights the whole entire way. There's no issues to get divorced. Like boom, it's very, very easy to stay married and to be in a marriage. He says it's comparable to the most rockiest mountain goat path, with ups and downs and, hard. Yeah, it's rocky, it's dirty, you fall down, but the point is to keep getting up and keep moving forward together. Whenever he says that, and he says it often, there's one company that has like motivational pictures, and I'm sure you can Google them, all over the place. But the image in my brain when he says that is one person climbing the mountain and kind of reaching back, trying to grab the other person to help them up. That's what marriage is. And that's what this program reinforces is, what, you guys are a team and you have to work at this together, not like something in between each of you. So.
Yeah, I love that. Love the metaphor. I'll even keep going with that a little bit, Christina, because as you're hiking up that rocky path, I think that the views and the perspective all of a sudden changes because you can see more clearly when you're up higher on that elevation. It takes work to get up there.
It does.
You've earned the view, that perspective that shifts, that takes place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like with anything, that's kind of like when I say we're outside of the forest and the couples are in it. So we can see better because we're higher up. We can see because we've done the work. But it's almost like with anything, if you've ever completed a hike or you ever completed, a certification, and even though it was tough, whatever your thing is that you've been wanting to do and you actually put in the work and you achieve it, that feeling of excitement, that feeling of just, burden-free brain or chest of like stress, it's incredible. And when you feel that way, it's like, wow, is this a fleeting moment or can I feel like this all the time? It can be both, but you feel it. That's the point, is that you feel it and you get there. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that is. It reminds me, took our son and some other boys about his age and some other leaders. We took them to the Tetons and we went on this 23-mile hike. And each step of the way, right, is tough. It's tough. But man, when you get up there, it's hard to describe. You have to experience it. You can't even a picture. I could show you a picture and it's not the same, but actually going through that pain and the blisters and all that, getting up there, it's work, but
that reward has got to be incredible.
It is. Yeah.
Breathtaking. Yeah,
exactly. But you got it. You got exactly what I was talking about.
Looking back, Christina, is there anything you would tell your pre-Retrouvaille self or any younger person who might be listening?
Oh, gosh. If I could tell my pre-Retrouvaille self, I would have given myself, how I found it was a newsletter at church because I was feeling so desperate. Had somebody given me a brochure or some information about this ahead of time, like in case of emergency, break open this brochure and call. I've actually given it as a wedding gift to people because people who just get married are too in the lovey-lovey stage that they're not going to hear it. It's like a teenager, right? You're telling them to do things the right way and they're like, yeah. That's kind of like how it is with somebody who's just married. But it's like, trust me, there's going to be a day when it's going to feel like ground zero. And whenever that happens, you can call this number. There's hope. And, but yeah.
Break open this packet.
Break open. So if I could tell my younger self, it would be like, hey, there's this place you can reach out to when you hit the ground, skidding and tumbling on the ground. Call this number and save yourself years of misery. Would I have listened? I don't know, but I at least would have told myself that or planted it in a book somewhere where I could open it up because my curiosity is always like, well, what's this? So I would have done something to make it a curious puzzle for me to go and find out sooner than later than when I did.
I love knowing this is a great wedding gift. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those words now are echoing, finding out sooner than later, right, listeners? If you're hearing this, you just feel this, whether resources, therapy, reaching out, Retrouvaille, whatever it is, reach out sooner than later. Just notice, right, that inner nudges, notice the nudges, follow the feelings, I like to say. And it's worth the work, but it takes intentional effort. That's wonderful. Well, Christina, it's come to that part of our program where we like to ask each of our guests a particular question. Mm-hmm. And that is, what do you believe is the key to a stronger marriage connection?
Well, of course, communication, but coupled with forgiveness. And forgiveness can mean forgiving your spouse, but more importantly, it can really hit home when you forgive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very much so.
Sometimes that's the hardest person to forgive, I find.
Yeah.
More so than the spouse. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Love it. And another question, our last question for you is this. Christina, what would you say is a takeaway of the day is how we like to call it? Is there a take-home message you want our listeners to remember from our discussion today?
Make the call. I would make the call, do the research. If you're afraid to go and commit, that's okay. Those are decisions. And the first decision is to make a decision, and that is to find out more. Go to the websites or make the call just to gather information. You don't have to make a decision other than getting information. That's what I would urge people to do who are in the most hurting position right now, or the most angry position. Of course, anger, you're hurt probably. So just call or reach out and look at the information provided available to you. And I hope it's enough to make you want to learn more. And we are more than happy to answer any questions at any point in time.
That's kind.
Yeah, very, very kind. Thank you. Liz, what about you? What's your takeaway of the day with Christina?
I think there's strength in numbers, and just having experienced that over the weekend, I just think it's where the magic is. How large are your groups, Christina? I imagine they vary.
They do vary. We've had groups as small as 8 couples. We've had groups as large as 50 couples. So it really just varies.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe on average about 25 couples or so.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Just to know you're not alone, and that we are in this with other people. There is something so reassuring, so inspiring about that. And Dave, what about you? What's a golden nugget you hope we're all going to learn and remember today from our time with Christina Morales regarding Retrouvaille?
Yeah, Liz, our whole purpose for this podcast is to give people tools and information, education, options, explore, do your research. And this is a great option. Retrouvaille has been around for a long time, research-based. I've seen studies on the effects of this. It can be very helpful. And so, yeah, couples listening, I hope that you will take the time to explore, do the work necessary. It's worth it. It's worth the work to find some helps, whatever that may look like for you and your relationship. But it's worth the effort and the work. So,
I'll say.
Oh, well, Christina, thank you so much again for coming on, your time, for your expertise, for sharing more about Retrouvaille and the wonderful positive impact it can have on couples.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me and for having Retrouvaille be this outlet for anyone who's listening. It feels like it's the best kept secret because it's only ever by referral or word of mouth. Usually we don't do any marketing really other than those 2 websites that I gave you. That's it.
Yeah. Well, we're doing our part. We're going to blast it. Yeah. Loud and proud, wherever we can to share this episode. Yeah. Christina. So thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
And that does it for us. We will see you next time on another episode of the Stronger Marriage Connection podcast.
And remember, it's the small things that create a stronger marriage connection. See you next time.
Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission